Morning and welcome to worship with the Unitarian Universalist Church of Ventura. I am Worship Associate Sue Brinkmeyer, and I am joined this morning by Worship Associate Ruth Capel in facilitating this lay-led service. Our minister, the Reverend Dana Worsnop, is away on sabbatical, and our sabbatical minister, the Reverend Carolyn Price, will be back with us next week for our bridging ceremony. Our theme for the month is creativity, and today we'll hear from a few of our social justice leaders, from our acting director of family ministry, and some of our religious education teachers about the creative ways they take some of their visions of the world they want to build and bring them closer to reality. Some of our children will be helping with the service as well on this Mother's Day as we honor all who create, nurture, and build a brighter future for us all. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all here in the sanctuary and at home joining us via the wonders of technology. I have, as you might imagine, just a few reminders. First, we are always grateful that this section over here is saved for people who are most comfortable wearing masks and being around others with masks. Second, you are all invited to an after-service congregational conversation next Sunday, in person and on Zoom, to preview progress on the 2023-2024 operating budget and to hear a proposal for a capital campaign. What will we be building for our future? I don't know. And finally, our pledge drive is ongoing. If you've been procrastinating, now is the time to let us know how you will commit to our church for the coming year, as we cannot plan without your support. And of course, a big thank you to all of you who have submitted your pledge commitments. More information about these and other church happenings can be found in our weekly email message, UUCV This Week. Let us enter sacred space.
I'm Lily Rappaport, the Acting Director of Family Ministry, and I invite those that are Zooming or streaming into this service to light a chalice or candle at home as we and the children and I light the chalice of our free faith here in the sanctuary with the words and actions that we use each Sunday in our religious education classes.
We light this chalice to celebrate the Unitarian Universalism, this church of the open mind, the loving heart, and the helping hands. We take care of the earth and each other.
Okay.
I am Worship Associate Ruth Capel. Our call to worship this morning comes from the 19th century writer and visionary John Keats. The problems of the world cannot possibly be solved by skeptics or cynics whose horizons are limited by the obvious realities. We need those who can dream of things that never were. Come, let us worship together.
Good morning and welcome. I'm Carolyn Bierke, the music director, and I'd like to welcome you all here in the sanctuary and online. Our opening hymn is We Are. Please rise in body or spirit and join me in singing. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the spirit of life. We are mothers of courage and fathers of time. We are daughters of dust and the sons of great visions, sisters of mercy and brothers of love. We are lovers of life and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the spirit of life. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are.
Today's story is a very special story told to you in the very special voices of children and teachers together who will demonstrate the creativity that we have in religious education in building our future together. So without further ado, let's listen to the story.
What We'll Build, Plans for Our Together Future by Oliver Jeffers.
What shall we build, you and I?
Let's gather all our tools for a start.
For putting together
and taking apart.
Let's build a door where there was none.
We'll build a house to be our home.
I'll build your future and you will build mine.
We'll build a watch to keep our time.
We'll build some love to set aside.
And build a hole where we can hide.
A fortress to keep our enemies out.
And hide our walls for when they shout.
But you don't always lose and you don't always win.
So we'll build a gate to let them in.
We'll build a table to drink our tea and say, I'm sorry.
Me too.
Me three.
We'll build a tower to watch the sky.
And other worlds that pass us by.
Let's build a tunnel to anywhere.
Let's build a road up to the moon.
Let's build a comfy place to rest, for we'll be tired soon.
Let's build a boat that can't be broken. That will not sink or be cracked open.
A place to stay when all is lost, to keep the things we love the most.
We'll put these favorite things beside
The earlier love we set aside.
I think that we may want them later.
When times are hard and needs are greater.
But first things first, let's build a fire, for we've planned a lot, and now we're tired.
It will keep us warm, like when we're born. Then we'll say good night, as all's all right.
These are the things we'll build.
You and I.
Thank you for doing such a good job reading, everyone. This year's program was able to take off due to a special group of dedicated volunteers who made up the RE Advisory Council. And this includes Krista Mendelson, Francesca Ferrara, Erica Duffy, Paul Grabowski, Kimberly Prieto, Lori Lemson, and David Henkel. In their plans to bring back children and families after the pandemic, there was a conscious decision to limit formal UU curriculum and to invite all children and youth to reestablish friendships with each other and to the community at large. Their charge was to provide connection, ritual, and play. This fall, there were pickleball lessons in the lower parking lot and a kickoff barbecue with burgers, hot dogs, and vegan patties with all the trimmings. The bounce houses were very popular, and there were plenty of outdoor games. In December, there was the holiday party with crafts and cookie decorations for both children and grown-ups, with carols led by the Don't Fret ukulele group. When I arrived in February, we continued the charge to provide connection, ritual, and play. Last month, the middle and high school youth had an evening of bowling at Buena Lanes. And on Friday night past, there was a game of Dungeons and Dragons, which will be continuing. They had so much fun. Next week, we're going to be holding a bridging service for our high school seniors who are graduating, and we hope you all will attend. I want to give special thanks to Janice Frank and David Henkel for their care and commitment in creating programming for our older youth. And also, I want to give special thanks to the leadership of our Sunday morning program, Lori Lemson, Cheryl Gilbert, Carrie Davis, and Barbarella West. Their love and dedication to the children are the foundation for this year's creative and meaningful learning experiences for all the children each Sunday. This year, instead of the traditional UU curriculum, we chose a program called Feel Your Best Self, a collaborative initiative out of the University of Connecticut, which is designed specifically for elementary age children, and it centers around how we feel in everyday moments and how we can improve our overall emotional well-being. We made puppets for role-playing and to learn strategies within 3 themes: to calm ourselves, to catch our feelings, and to connect with each other. Through Feel Your Best Self, the children learned strategies into practice. They were able to put the strategies into practice and to gain tools to carry throughout their life. So I'm going to invite the children to come sit forward here. And they're going to be showing their puppets that they made during class. And you know what? I'm sorry, stay standing up. And I'm going to invite Barbarella to show us and to teach us some of the strategies that can help us calm down when we're not feeling our best selves.
Thank you. Good morning. What a blessing to be here on this beautiful day, and happy Mother's Day. I'm trying not to cry. I feel so blessed to be up here with all of these children on this beautiful Mother's Day. So thank you, Lily. What a great introduction to our amazing curriculum, Feel Your Best Self. We've had so much fun. We've learned lots of techniques. And so right now we're going to teach one of those techniques to you. And you guys are going to help me out, right? Are you guys going to help me out? Yeah? So I want to hear you say, yeah! Yeah, we're going to help you out. So one of the things that we're learning about and tools that we're using is feeling like when we feel stuck or we have like heavy feelings on us, we talk about how those heavy feelings, it could be something very small or very big. We feel like we got this yucky stuff stuck on us. And so we want to like imagine ourselves shaking out the yuck. Do you guys remember how to shake out the yuck and get those yucky feelings out of your body and or off of you? Okay, let's show everybody. And you can rise if you would like to shake out the yuck. Does anybody feel yucky today? I don't feel very yucky today. I have to pretend I feel yucky right now. You want to pretend you feel yucky too? Come on, everybody. Let's shake out the yuck. Okay, we ready? So we're going to shake. We're going to say it. Shake out the yuck. Shake out the yuck. You can pound it down. Shake it out. Shake out the yuck. Just give it a little shake. Ooh, do you feel lighter? I feel so light. Oh my gosh. You feel lighter? Yay. All right. Thank you. Good job for your participation. All right. So there's one of the many. And then the other one is it's about feelings that can come in our head. You know, when we stop envisioning what we want, right, to be going on. We have some dark thoughts in our minds that really are weighing us down. And so what we're giving the children an opportunity to do is to imagine that those are like heavy, dark clouds in their mind. And so when we have heavy, dark feelings, whether we're scared, what are some other heavy feelings that you guys want to get out of your heads? You want to say it in my microphone? No? Do you have an idea?
Yes.
Yeah, what? Tell me. Oh, it's okay. We sometimes get so embarrassed in front of people. It's amazing. Anyway, so yucky, scared. Can anybody else think of something? Worried, right? Angry. Good job. Yeah. Nervous. Right. Scared and sad. I got to get my little thing up here for a second. So when we're doing that, we're imagining those are heavy, dark clouds. And so we can close our eyes and we take a nice deep breath in. Ready, everybody? We push the clouds away until the sky is clear. We send away those heavy thoughts until the sun shines near. So let's do that again. I said it wrong. I'm sorry. Oops. We push the clouds away until the sky is clear. We send away the heavy thoughts and bring the sunshine near. One more time. We push the clouds away until the sky is clear. We send away the heavy thoughts and bring the sunshine near. Yay! I'm feeling so sunshiny. I love it. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Everybody say, with your puppets, say, have a wonderful Mother's Day. Yes. Mwah.
And if I could ask you all to rise, face the center aisle. If you feel willing, put your hands on the back of the person in front of you. We'll form a bridge of love to sing our children and our wonderful RE teachers and Director of Family Ministry out to their RE classrooms. Thank you so much.
As you go, may your heart be at peace.
One of the ways our congregation builds the world we envision, a kinder, more loving, more equitable world, is by giving away our collection each Sunday to an organization in the larger community or to funds that help people in our own church. Those at home have two ways to give: through the link posted in the chat or by texting from your phone at 844-901-1779. Folks who are present in the sanctuary, that's you guys, can text to give, or you can still write a check or give cash and drop it in the basket at the back of the sanctuary after the service. Our offering today goes to our own InReach Outreach Fund to help people in our congregation or in the local community. Sometimes the needs are more than this fund alone can meet, and then we need to get creative to find a way to help. That's what happened this week when we tried to help Lisa, who is pictured here. She was living in her truck because her landlord had sold the home she had rented for the previous 13 years, and she had not yet been able to find another place that she could afford. The truck, which was also her way to get to work, needed brakes so badly that the mechanic who checked them out said it would be dangerous for her to drive at all. It was clearly a case we wanted to help with, but the cost was more than we alone could fund. So we gave Lisa a list of other houses of faith that will sometimes help with a special need. Thanks to the good folks at Mission Church and this fund, together we were able to pay for her truck repair. Life can be hard sometimes, but because of your generosity, this church can help ease the burden for some of our neighbors. Thanks for giving generously, as you always do.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It's not hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger, and the brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. I have to catch my breath. Thank you, Jennifer. We are so grateful for the generosity of this congregation, which helps us weave a tapestry of love we call community.
As we build that community, we take time each service to share with one another the great joys and sorrows that grace our lives. And we place stones in water for both the celebrations and sorrows in our hearts, making ripples that go out to show how that joy or sorrow travels throughout our community. You can submit a joy or sorrow for sharing via a link on the website, UU Ventura This Week, or a link in our Thursday email bulletin, UUCV This Week. Those received by 8 p.m., new time, 8 p.m. on Saturday will be shared that Sunday. I invite you now to speak into the gathered community or write into the Zoom chat the names of those you wish to celebrate, memorialize, or bring into the loving embrace of this beloved community. And please feel free at home to continue to write in the chat even after the silence has ended. Ruth will now place one final stone in the water for all the joys and sorrows just shared, and for those yet unspoken in the silent sanctuary of our hearts. May we be truly grateful for all that is our life.
Filled with loving kindness.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. May you be filled with loving kindness.
Having been a professional art historian for many years, I have the confidence to speak about creativity, although it is the creativity of others, not my own. Art historians talk about the past, not like art critics about the present. We have to recreate the challenges of hundreds of years, even thousands, in which the voices of artists were not heard, and their personal visions remained obscure because they were dependent on the demands of the wealthy and powerful who commissioned the art. Like slaves, which many of them were, the artists had no other task than to fulfill the wishes of their masters. In the story of European art, artists have only gained some limited space for their creativity and could follow their own vision in the last 500 years or so, but even then remain subject to the whims of the art market. We are very fortunate to have artists in our own community and a space in which they can share the vision. After the service, please be sure to visit the Green Room, where our artists can now share their work again after the dark COVID years. Veronica Baer is one such artist, and she shared with us a letter that she recently found among her papers that expressed the following interesting thoughts about creativity. As you engage in the process of creating a painting, or anything you might create, a meal, a poem, a world, a life, it will most certainly make some real demands of you. Your creation will demand that you constantly make choices while you're working on it. If you start with a blank canvas, everything you put on the surface is a choice that you get to make and must make. In order to create your masterpiece, say a painting, you must have a vision for how you think you want the painting to look. Then you head in the direction of your vision, This requires showing up, beginning and staying put in front of the canvas long enough for something to happen. As you paint or create, you must be flexible and react to the things that are happening visually on the surface of the canvas. You assess, and adjust. Your creation will demand that you approach it with courage and confidence. Courage is a choice. You must try and approach your work as if you know exactly what you're doing, even if you don't. Confidence requires that you have fun creating. Having fun makes creating your masterpiece more enjoyable and also leads to better results. A painting like any creation demands that you constantly take risks. They don't always have to be big ones, so long as you're true to yourself and your medium. The risk-taking can be scary, but it is so necessary for learning and growth. You must balance risk-taking with the things that you already know how to do. If you want to paint or create a meal, a poem, a world, a life, don't be afraid to take on the challenge of creating something new. Know that the work will make many demands of you. Accept these demands and create a way.
I invite you now into a time of silent meditation. Place your feet on the floor if you're comfortable doing so. Close your eyes if you wish, and breathe. Let your breath fall into a natural rhythm. What dreams of a better world are there in your mind's eye? Take a moment to let the internal visions come. Imagine yourself creating a way and making choices that will bring what you envision into reality. A silent meditation.
Good morning. For me, creativity is the process of seeing familiar things and then looking at them through a different lens, one that gives me new ways to think about them. That's true for me in art, in cooking, and also in saving the earth. I'm deeply concerned about the environment and climate change. I read the statistics about how much Americans blow past sustainable levels in all aspects of consumption, and do what I can. I try to eat locally and in season, mostly vegetarian and lower on the food chain. All those good things to try to reduce my carbon footprint. But just because my work is more home-focused right now, that doesn't mean it's not sometimes controversial. What if I told you that my efforts to save the earth have led me to green biscuits? I'm getting ahead of myself. So I was getting ready to make dinner, and an epiphany came. In this case, it showed up in the form of my daughter, Erin. She does environmental plant restoration, so she knows her stuff. She was talking about the weeds in the backyard. Weeds. Let's think about that for a minute. We know a weed isn't inherently bad. It's a plant, just a plant that's growing in a place that you don't think it belongs. But what if it did belong? I started looking at those weeds in a new light. Maybe they deserve to be called volunteers. Volunteers who are ready to teach me something. Erin showed me many of the volunteer plants in the yard that I'd been pulling out with abandon were actually things I could use. Dandelions, sow thistle, cheeseweed, mustard, chickweed, sourgrass, and lots of others. So I've started to play with them when I'm cooking. Goosefoot is definitely my go-to. It's got tender leaves and a spinach-like flavor and texture, and it's indefatigable. Once you get it in your yard, it wants to just keep coming, and you get it all season long. It's wonderful, and it takes no care. Then there's sourgrass. Those of you that were at Terry House may remember sourgrass. It's that bright, big oxalis with yellow flowers, and our kids used to roam the hillsides there, pulling them out and eating them. We happen to have them in our yard because when we moved from Terry House, my children were devastated there would no longer be sourgrass in their lives. So we transplanted some into our yard, not quite realizing what we had done. Then there's cheeseweed. It gets its name from the seeds, which some people think looks like a tiny little wheel of cheese. It mostly tastes green, so it's a good one to pair with things like stronger flavored greens like mustard greens or collards. I didn't have enough enchilada sauce one day, so I blended some cheeseweed with an equal amount of sauce. It was great. The high sodium canned sauce suddenly had a freshness to it that balanced the saltiness, and I had some actual veg in my meal. When you think about it, it's sort of odd how few things we have to choose from in the market. Much of the selection is not based on nutrition or taste, but how well it lasts in the store. What if we turned that around? What if we used foods that might not be easy for the market, but were as easy for us as stepping into the backyard? So, back to biscuits. So you know when you're looking for a recipe online and a couple hours later you have 10 tabs open and no more time to cook? Well, my latest recipe hunt was like that, but a little different because instead of making the perfect biscuit, I wanted to make the perfect green biscuit. I wanted to find a biscuit I could make with my backyard volunteers that would actually taste great. So naturally, there's no perfect recipe online for a green biscuit. There was the whole wheat biscuit that I knew would land me in hockey puck territory. There was the precious little biscuit that used 1 tablespoon of greens. But they each gave me hints. Dry the greens well so that they don't add too much moisture. Chop them finely. Find flavors that enhance their flavors. And I took a little from each recipe and I played, while keeping in mind what a biscuit should look like, so each step along the way I could sort of adjust as needed. And it worked. Green and buttery and garlicky and yummy. In case you're curious, the final product probably relied most on King Arthur's Green Goddess biscuits with some extra greens and a little less butter than they put in. And when I baked it in my oven, my electric oven, the only footprint I had to worry about was the dirt I'd tracked in from the garden.
People will sometimes say that an idea like cooking with weeds, an idea that's a little out of the ordinary or perhaps seemingly too good to be true, sounds crazy. And the song we're about to share does too, though we know that term is insensitive to people struggling with mental illness. Sometimes, though, our visionaries do dream of things that seem impossible. And fortunately for us, they don't cast their ideas aside. They make those green biscuits, or they bring them to life with things like hydrogen to power our cars and our factories out of seawater now, or 20 acres of food grown without pesticides and with little water in tiers of dirt inside a 1-acre building. Way cool. Or portable devices that deliver safe drinking water anywhere on the planet with a simple push of a button and some seawater. Or machines that weave yarn into clothing, leaving no scraps of unused material behind. And my favorite, fields filled with landmines being turned into vineyards. They're about to do that in Ukraine. Yay. All of these visions are becoming reality. People out in the world and here in our congregation are taking such visions and working to build a sustainable world of peace, racial and gender equity, and bright promise for all. They believe, as I do, and as this song, A Million Dreams, affirms, that no matter what people say, even if they call it crazy, we can live in a world that we design. We just have to get creative. I close my eyes and I can see a world that's waiting there for me, that I call my own. Through the dark, through the door, through where no one's been before, but it feels like home. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say I've lost my mind. I don't care, so call me crazy. We can live in a world that we design.
Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. There's a house we can build, Every room inside is filled with things from far away. Special things I compile, each one there to make you smile on a rainy day.
They can say it all sounds crazy.
They can say we've lost our mind.
I don't care if they call us crazy. We can build a world that we design. Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take.
A million dreams for the world we're gonna make.
However big, however small, let me be part of it all. Share your dreams with me. We may be right and may be wrong, but I want to bring you along to the world I see, to the world I close my eyes to see. I close my eyes to see. And every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. For the world we're gonna make.
First, I want to thank the wonderful and brave students that allowed us to create this class that we're going to talk about and continue to inspire our creativity. What is the possibility of challenging and changing the privilege so many of us have simply by being white? How can that help more deeply understand and empathize with people of color and Black people in particular? When Ryan and I took up this question, we sought to answer it through the study of Toni Morrison's books, beginning with The Bluest Eye and Sula. But how do we go about it, this huge and critical project? We knew we had to do more than just stand in front of a class and spout statistics about discrimination to a passive audience. Boredom and defensiveness were exactly what we did not want. So we decided to take a more creative, challenging, and risky approach. We needed to get everyone involved. We wanted people to be open and to challenge themselves, and most of all, we wanted people to experience, to empathize, and to get as close as they can get to comprehending the pain of Black people in this country. Thus began our creative process.
Generally, people use the word creativity when referring to art, song, or dance. Our creativity was geared more towards looking to solve a problem that changes behavior, attitudes, and perspectives. For weeks before the group started, Susan and I met regularly to brainstorm the themes inside the 2 books of Toni Morrison, everything from white dominance to gender oppression, from lynching to the problematic euphemism of resilience, from implicit bias to discussing the contribution of white people to the annihilation of the people of color. One of us would come up with an idea, then we would explore it. We discarded the ones that didn't fit and added others. We challenged each other, playing out-of-the-box thinking. All this led to the synergy of our minds in the development of this curriculum. How do we discuss these themes and topics in a less academic way? Then, how do we connect them to what is happening right now in our country? Then, how do we bring the topics in a way that shatters the proper response and forces participants to reflect deeply on themselves in a way that asks, what am I doing to perpetuate racism? And then, how do we challenge participants week after week without scaring them off? This was not your ordinary book club.
Week after week, we utilized different activities to do with the group, including theater. Augusto Boal was a Brazilian theater director and a friend and compadre of Pablo Freire, who was the Brazilian educator who wrote Pedagogy of the Oppressed, to help people conceive of the democratization of education. Boal was also interested in democratization, using theater as a way to take social action against discriminatory practices in our lives. He wrote a book called Theater of the Oppressed. I had studied with Boal and his son and was interested in bringing his teaching to this UU project under the direction of the Ministry of Equity. We used this form of theater in an exercise to experience the physicality of racism and oppression, what anger and fear do to the body. How does it affect our daily movements? When we discover how we feel and move in certain situations, it opens up to more growth within ourselves. We become more whole. Ryan and I know an exercise like this comes with some apprehension and discomfort, but we found the group allowed themselves to feel it, to breathe through it, and to embrace it. We discovered that awkwardness and discomfort can lead to growth.
Another exercise we facilitated was related to mental health. We asked participants to bring a picture of themselves to the group. In a very structured, facilitated session, each person was to rip up a portion of their picture when they identified a memory when they were oppressed, mistreated, or assaulted because of their skin color, because of their gender, their race, or their age, etc. The very act of tearing yourself down, not figuratively, but literally ripping yourself to pieces, was how we discussed the erasure, the annihilation of people of color, and how it affects the mental health of the oppressed and the oppressor.
But why? Why utilize Toni Morrison's books? Why not use a book like White Fragility or some other politically charged book? Why use fiction? Toni Morrison was a writer of Black people's experience without the intersection of whites, without having to discuss white people, without the daily lives of white people. In her writing, she created for all readers the deep understanding and appreciation of the complex lives of Black people in and of themselves. But even though their world was Black and the stories were centered on Black lives, where they did not have to confront white people, racism and white dominance was still a part of their lived experience. And this is what Toni Morrison was trying to show.
And finally, with this creative process, we focused on changing behavior, attitudes, and perspectives, all towards the goal of helping engender a deep feeling of equity within our congregation. We hope that our work, both with the participants and ourselves, leads to the clearer and deeper understanding of white privilege and to actively work towards a much more inclusive congregation. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan and Ryan. Our closing hymn is This Little Light of Mine. Please stand in body or spirit and join me in singing. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. One more time, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Please join me in reading the words on the screen as we prepare to extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment, those we carry into our lives until we are together again.
Oh, I want to thank all of those who participated in this service today. Thank you, Kitty. Thank you to our religious education folks. Thank you, Susan and Ryan. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Carolyn, as always. And I hope you will all join us for coffee, tea, bagels, conversation, etc. We can go through the double doors there, single doors there, into our community hall, Berg Hall. Our big round connecting table is there and available. If we have any visitors here today, that's a really good place to start to get connected or reconnected to our congregation. Perhaps you'll want to put a check or money in the basket at the way out, right back there for our offering, or you may want to stop by the green room there. The door is closed at the moment, but you may want to stop by there and see some of the artwork that our very creative people have pulled together so that we can enjoy it. I leave you with these words from the Reverend Scott Taylor. In the soft light of tomorrow's dawn, may life appear anew. May the supposedly real seem less solid. May the inevitable reveal its carefully concealed cracks. This dream we call living, it's made completely of pieces and parts, each longing to be rearranged, to be more beautifully placed. Or maybe this living is a story, and the secret is realizing the pen is in our hand. Go forth in peace, go forth in love, and build the world you dream of. May it be so.